3 Bulgarian nationals have just been found guilty of spying for Russia here in the UK. An Old Bailey jury reached unanimous verdicts on all of the counts. So let's go straight to the Old Bailey because our correspondent Daniel de Simone is there. And Daniel, tell us more.
So these 3 defendants, 2 women and a man, Vanya Gabarova, Katrin Ivanova and Tihomir Ivanchev, had been on trial since November and they had denied conspiracy to spy for Russia. 3 other men had already pleaded guilty to being part of the same cell. And this trial is really unlike anything we've really seen in the British courts before. This was an operational spy cell. These people were going out, spying on targets of Russia, carrying out surveillance, and even talking about potentially kidnapping them, taking them back to Russia, even killing them. And as you're going to see in my report, that their targets were spread throughout Europe, and they travelled throughout Europe and the UK conducting surveillance. And my report follows now. Smashing a Russian spy cell by raiding a guest house in Great Yarmouth.
Stay there! Stay there!
The owner is Bulgarian Orlen Rusev.
Stay there! Stay there!
He suggests police have made a mistake.
It's the wrong place.
Support!
I think it's the wrong place.
But it isn't. It's full of tools for spying, and officers find thousands of chat messages organising espionage.
Are all of these devices yours?
I have purchased some on the eBay and I'm repairing many of those.
They're yours, aren't they?
Not all of them.
The sheer scale of what was recovered from the espionage base was unprecedented. We're talking about devices that can, for example, be taken close to a mobile phone and extract the data from that phone and exploit it. And there were 11 drones, over 200 mobile phones, nearly 500 SIM cards. The scale was enormous.
Orlen Rusev moved to the UK as a businessman over 15 years ago. After being recruited as a Russian spy, he then recruited other Bulgarians working in normal jobs. Biza Jambazov and girlfriend Katrin Ivanova, a couple who ran courses in London teaching British values.
Entry 3, Introduction to British Value.
They also worked in healthcare. And he had an affair with another cell member, beautician Vanya Gabarova.
Oh, big left hand and a huge right.
Another member was Ivan Stoyanov, a mixed martial arts fighter.
The destroyer Stoyanov!
Their spy cell conducted operations in the UK and Europe, following people targeted by Russia, and even seeking to identify Ukrainian troops believed to be training at a US military base in Germany. They filmed themselves next to the base. In Montenegro, they posed as holidaymakers to spy on the partner of one target. In London, they filmed the Kazakhstan embassy, where they planned to stage a protest. With the pretense they could then give information about protesters to Kazakhstan intelligence to curry favour for Russia. Throughout Europe, they spied on journalists Christo Grozev and Roman Dobrokotov, who exposed Russia's role in the Salisbury nerve agent attack, with the cell deploying these spy glasses to film them. Katrin Ivanova capturing Christo Grozev on a plane, sending the footage in real time to the cell. Some members had discussed killing him. They spoke about kidnapping fellow journalist Roman Dobrokotov.
And I'm very lucky to be alive, actually. I think assassination was one of the options that they reviewed. But even if it was kidnapping, that doesn't mean that I was just, brought to Russia and then let free. It was about interrogating and then killing.
When police moved in, they found dozens of fake identity documents. The cell even posed as journalists.
It's my ex-girlfriend. We spent kind of about 4 or 5 years together. We split kind of about a year and a half. I don't know.
Outside the home of Vanya Gabarova, police spot a curious visitor, Tihomir Ivanchev, a painter and decorator who also turned out to be in the cell.
But in that time I was like completely aware that I'm just helping for a good cause.
He and some others claim to think the surveillance was for innocent reasons. But the cell leader Rusev was directed from abroad by Russian state asset Jan Marsalek, who's wanted in Germany for fraud. His whereabouts are unclear.
He was acting as a middleman between the Russian intelligence services and this group of Bulgarians. So a direct line of communication from the Russian intelligence services through to Rusev, which generated all of their surveillance activity here.
Who ordered that you should be targeted?
I think that it was Vladimir Putin directly. In this dictatorship, you would never take responsibility on your own to do such political stuff. You will always have direct order from the president. It doesn't have to be a written order.
From the Kremlin to Great Yarmouth, and the unlikely faces of a real threat within. Daniel Desimoni, BBC News at the Old Bailey. And as you can see in the report there, this cell was conducting the sort of operations that have previously led to poisonings and death in Europe and in the UK. And so this was the first time a trial has really seen on the inside of a spy cell, seeing their messages, seeing the things that they were filming, the pictures they were taking, they were discussing the people they were following. And these convictions, of course, come at a moment when Russia is at the top of the global political agenda. And we're going to have to see what Russia says in response. But the police are quite clear. They say this was the Russian intelligence services causing chaos on the streets of the UK. The victims, who you saw one of them in my report, saying this goes right to Vladimir Putin himself, given the nature of the conspiracy that we've seen. And so as for the defendants themselves, there are 6 of them that are going to be sentenced.